to The Joy of Music. My name is Diane Bish, and I would like to invite you to join us as we bring you a special program today from Montreat, North Carolina, in a special tribute to George Beverly Shea, America's beloved gospel singer. Our music today comes from the Chapel of the Prodigal, the centerpiece of Montreat College, not far from the home of Mr. Shea. Thank you for joining us. America's beloved gospel singer George Beverly Shea has heard the applause of millions around the world. In more than 50 years of concerts, recordings, and working with the Reverend Billy Graham's worldwide crusades. But with all his fame, the 91-year-old Mr. Shea is the soul of humility. It was my pleasure 18 years ago to have had Bev Shea on The Joy of Music as one of my first guests. Today we welcome him again with joy and thankfulness for him and his ministry of music to so many over the years.
My Lord has garments so wondrous fine, and myrrh their texture fills. Its fragrance reached to this heart of mine, with joy my being thrills. Out of the Ivory Palaces, into a world of woe, only His great eternal love made my Savior go. His life had also its sorrows sore, for arrows had a part. And when I think of the cross He bore, mine eyes with teardrops start. Out of the Ivory Palaces, into a world of woe, only His great eternal love made my Savior go. Well. Somebody's at our door.
I'm so thankful, Bev, that you invited us to your home here in Montreat, North Carolina. You know, it was 18 years ago, I believe, that you were one of the first guests on The Joy of Music down at the Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church.
I remember very distinctly when Kurt Kaiser was at the piano. You were at the organ.
That's right.
Yes, it was a wonderful time.
And you sang many concerts at the Coral Ridge Church, I remember.
I think 3 possibly, yes.
Yes.
I think a lot of that place, we really do. That's a testimony going from there.
Yes.
Word and music, wonderful.
Well, you have ministered to so many people over the years. Can you tell us how long you've been doing this?
Well, with Mr. Graham since 1947. I met him in 1943 when I was an announcer. They called me an announcer singer at WMBI in Chicago. Mm-hmm. He was a student at Wheaton. And I had a little program called Hymns from the Chapel. Mm-hmm. And he came in, he said, I'm listening to it at 8:15 in the morning before I go to class. And he was 21. I was 31.
Is that right?
And there's still that age difference, you know. He's 81, I'm 91.
Well, you know, you've been singing for what, 50 years, 60 years?
Yeah, so more.
How do you keep your voice in shape? And amazing that you're still singing when,
Well,
you want to tell us your age?
91.
Amazing.
91, yes. Born in '09.
And you're still singing?
Well, if you can call it that.
Oh, I can call it that.
But it's interesting how that in the early years of the Crusades, I do, before television come along, I had me do 3 a night, you know, before the, after the opening prayer, then something like a spiritual, and then before the message. But when television came along with these wonderful guests we have, some of them are very exciting, and they get the audience going, you know. So I still do the simple little quiet hymn or gospel song. It seems to help Billy. If it helps other people, that's wonderful too, but I did it. Out in the parking lot, T.W. Wilson lives up the street here. He said, you know, Billy loves the old ones. I said, T.W., that's 1896. We had a good laugh over that one.
Do you know what it was? What did?
Holy Spirit, faithful guide, ever near the Christian side.
I love that hymn.
Yeah. Holy Spirit, faithful guide, ever near the Christian side, gently lead us by the hand, pilgrim in a weary land. It goes on and on.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
But don't you think the old hymns and the gospel hymns just speak to the hearts of people like nothing else, really?
Very much so. Sometimes I look at our young people and I wish they'd had the experience of sitting in a church and hearing a beautiful choir sing an old hymn and perhaps feel the awesomeness of it. Not sadness, but feel the spirit. What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Have we trials and temptations? Is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful who will all our sorrows share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer.
Well, you know, you've invited us to your home, and I understand from you that you have 5 organs in your home. You want to tell us a little bit about them?
I tell you, they're not very expensive organs. Some of them are given to us, and on the wall there's a picture of some pipes that are directly underneath us here in the basement, about 800, a little more, less than 800, that's showing only about 3/4 of them. And that on the left there is a little thing from the church that gave us the pipes in Lexington, Virginia. And it says, from the church that helped you to become organized. Isn't that kind of nice? And
you have the pipes for this
the pipes,
organ downstairs.
We brought the old console here and took it apart. Then we sent the console back so the pastor could use it for a roll-top desk, you know. And then we just put the pipes in here. All the bottom part is pipe organ. This is electric organ here. It'll sound better if you played it.
Well,
that's a chord I like.
yes.
One of my favorite chords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, people know you as a singer, and now they're going to know you as an organist.
Oh no, I just play.
Bev, we'd love to meet your wife.
And we want to introduce her to you, Diane Bish.
Yes.
It's Carleen Johnson Shea.
Just delighted to have you here in our home.
You're so kind to
We
invite
love your
us
program.
to come.
We love your music.
Well, thank you so much.
We tell everybody about you. It's on, watch it.
8 o'clock on Friday morning.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can you
Channel.
tell us what it's like to live with George Beverly Shea?
Well, there's never a dull moment. I mean, there's always something singing. Even our clocks, our bird clocks, and they all have a little tune. The CD player is always on. The organ is being the piano. He plays the violin. He also plays the trombone, but I've never heard him play it.
You don't want to
I
either.
would like to hear that trombone.
So you always have music in your home, and I understand too. You always have friends here.
Yes, yes.
I love symphonies. We're crazy about symphony music. Most of those are symphonies, and I put it on pretty loud here. I'm afraid. I have this big woofer underneath this chair here. You know.
So you like music of all kinds.
I do.
Yes, music is wonderful.
But he likes the old hymns.
Yes, I do.
I think most people love the old hymns. This is what we hear so much on the Joy of Music. People love the old hymns. They love the words. They love the music.
The other morning, he'd been quite sick with the shingles, and I fed him some cream of wheat. So I gave him the cream of wheat, and I sang the cream of wheat song. Do you remember that? That was, cream of wheat is so good to eat, and we have it every day. It makes us strong as we go along. It makes us shout, hooray! For all the family's breakfast, you can't be cream of wheat. Well, then he turned around and he sang to me. Well, he just quoted the lyrics of Prayer Perfect.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
do that?
Dear Lord, kind Lord, gracious Lord, I pray thou would look on all I love tenderly today. Weed their hearts of weariness, scatter every care, down a wake of angel wings, winnowing the air. Diane Bish, it's a privilege for Mrs. Shea and I to be with you here in Montreat, North Carolina, at the Joy of Music. And you were in our home earlier, and we appreciate so much you and your staff. Charming people, all of you, and the music you make. We heard it this summer in Amsterdam, Holland. You asked something about a song that I chose to sing at Madison Square Garden when Mr. Graham had his mission there some years ago. I wanted to choose something that everybody would know. And the one I chose, because the garden was full of people, made some folks kind of smile. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet. The birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
The Chapel of the Prodigal began as the dream of a former college trustee, Mark Snoddy, who was impressed by the village church steeples in the Swiss Alps. These steeples could be seen from great distances, providing a Christian witness. And Mr. Snoddy felt that the college should have a similar symbol of its witness to the community. And so the steeple was incorporated into the design of the chapel. Nestled into the valley itself, the chapel houses an Allen Renaissance organ and a splendid carillon, which produces the sounds of 61 bells. The interior of the Chapel of the Prodigal was designed as a complementary setting and focus for the large fresco, The Return of the Prodigal, created by the artist Ben Long. Long's fresco is 16 feet wide by 17 feet high and portrays the parable found in Luke chapter 15. After squandering the inheritance he demanded from his father, the prodigal son returns home from a far country, seeking forgiveness and acceptance. The father receives him with love and joy, reestablishing his place in the family. This parable of the unconditional love of God is considered by many to be the greatest story Jesus ever told. When asked what message he wanted to portray in this fresco, the artist Ben Long smiles and says simply, forgiveness.
When the prodigal son came home, 'twas his father there he found. 'Twas his father who had waited to put his loving arms around. When the prodigal son came home. When the prodigal son came home, had his father been away, and his brother met him at the door, he'd have gone away to stay when the prodigal son came home. Are you first prodigal sons? Do you hope for their return? Be sure you've a hand to greet them and a heart within to burn. Be sure you've a hand to greet them and a heart within to burn. When the prodigal sons come home.
Thank you for joining us today on The Joy of Music, as we have brought you a special tribute to George Beverly Shea, America's beloved gospel singer. Our music today has come from the Chapel of the Prodigal, found on the campus of Montreat College in Montreat, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us.